ahead.
I'm Lainey.
And I'm Laura Beth. And we are Steel Magnolias, two sisters who love family, traditions, and all things Southern.
We've got plenty of room at our table, so pull up a chair.
Well, Lainey, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, but it's not beginning to feel a lot like Christmas.
That is the truth.
Here in the South, that is.
Yeah.
It's a balmy 69 degrees,
That's
is that
what
right?
my car said on the drive home.
Here in the
church.
Nashville, Tennessee area.
Yeah.
So the tree lighting for our city is this evening, and should be an interesting...
I know. I was planning on making my hot cranberry drink. Well, it's not even... It's my mom's, and it actually was Patty Whitehurst before that.
Okay.
But making that hot drink for us to take to stand out at the tree lighting. I've had many tree lightings where my toes were numb. I was so cold standing out there. So I thought I needed a hot drink to take with me, and turns out the sweet tea may have been the better choice on this day.
But you're still going to make it, right?
I'm still making
so
it.
Press on.
That's right.
That's how every...
The smells will be in the house, the cloves, the cinnamon.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Well, we... We'll look forward to that later. But for now, we did choose to have something a little bit cooler.
You have made something lovely here.
We're having a little batch of Cheerwine Punch here today as we record our podcast, and it is wonderful. It's very simple to make. It's only got 3 ingredients. Cheerwine's out of North Carolina, so you can get it at the grocery store here. I'm sure you can get it at other stores and different places, but it's got Cheerwine, pineapple juice. It actually calls for unsweetened pineapple juice.
Okay.
And mine was just regular pineapple juice.
Okay.
So that's making a difference probably. And then some ginger ale. So you were commenting a minute ago, even before we officially began, you thought it was pretty sweet.
It is pretty sweet. Now, I want to start with this color. It's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
For Christmas. It's beautiful. It's a cherry soda, so it's got this pretty red color to it. And... it's really lovely. It is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Because I like sweet. I was thinking you might want to, if somebody wanted it not quite so sweet, maybe heavier on the ginger ale, less
True.
on the...
And, I mean, an unsweetened pineapple juice would make a big difference because I'm tasting a lot of the pineapple.
I am too.
Right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very festive color. The actual recipe, which we'll put up on the website, also calls for you to make an ice ring.
Oh, those are so pretty.
So you can do this in a bundt pan, or I'm sure there's other contraptions that maybe are even more official to make an ice ring, but I've done it before in a bundt pan. And so you can put like any sort of fruit.
Yeah,
a lot of times I'll do cranberries,
pretty.
orange or lemon slices are really pretty to do. Put those down at the bottom of your bundt pan. Pineapple slices obviously would make
that would be
sense
pretty.
for this one since it's got a pineapple flavor too. And then you can either put water, or you could actually, for this recipe, you could put Cheerwine.
Oh, so as it melts, it's going to have the same flavor.
Yeah. And then you just freeze it overnight. And then,
Very
in a
nice.
big, large punch bowl, it just brings even more festivity. So I wanted to talk about punch a little bit today because I think it's not a party without punch.
Yeah, it's so festive.
It can be a gathering of sorts. You can have people over maybe to watch a football game at your house or, to do something else. But if you've got a signature drink, and in this case, this isn't even an alcoholic drink. Punches can be non-alcoholic.
That's true.
Or alcoholic. But if you've got, sort of a signature drink, a cocktail or a mocktail, if you will.
Yeah.
For the occasion, it just brings up
a fun
the festivities,
I
think. Yeah. So, if I'm at wedding receptions or different events where they've created a drink just for that event, whether I'm in the mood for tea or soda, I'm going to try the signature punch or cocktail because, you're not going to get it again. So, or you'll have to recreate it on your own. So, so I think punches just bring a different sort of level of festivity, and they're just pretty. They make for a nice, even centerpiece.
It's wonderful too because you're not standing there having having to mix a drink for each person.
Exactly.
It's done.
Yes. Yeah. As a host, it's presenting it as a self-serve option, you know. I don't actually even have a punch bowl. I don't have the space to store a punch bowl or all of the glasses that would normally accompany it and the ladle and everything. Yeah. I have just a drink dispenser that is actually an oversized mason jar. So I sometimes miss out on doing things like, you know, pretty ice ring or displaying more of a garnish. Sometimes you can do it in a drink dispenser, but it doesn't come through quite as nice. You can't
even do ice cube trays, and there's all different shapes.
I did do that one year.
Where you're doing that for a cocktail. Now, it's not going to have quite the beauty of this ring like you're talking about. But.
Well, I froze cranberries in, I have just a 6, I think it's 6 cubes. That's like a rubber tray that would be more, I guess, for cocktails. Yeah, but I put a few. Cubes. Yeah, they're just large cubes. So I put cranberries and water in that and froze it, and that was fun.
Yeah,
because I didn't
just
have
makes it prettier.
An ice ring. Yeah, so so we're having cheerwine punch today. We had St. Cecilia punch last week. We had a couple of people request to try that or to make that at home. So. We wanted to talk punches, and I actually found a couple that are just sort of predominantly, I guess, in the South, that I was going to mention. One is, I think the name is hilarious, Powerful Punch.
Okay.
So it's, I don't know, almost a play on words there. Like it's a powerful punch. You know, it's got a punch to it. And like we said earlier, you know, punches don't even have to have alcohol. This one does.
Some of them have a lot of alcohol, by the way.
Yeah, I've got one later that we'll mention that reminds me of moments of, you know, that's too much. But it's the Powerful Punch has Benedictine, which isn't that what we looked at last week? Not on the podcast, but Lainey and I looked at a bottle
of some of
that. Grenadine, frozen pink lemonade, orange juice, unsweetened pineapple juice. So again, there's the pineapple. And then you top it off with champagne.
Fun.
Which it seems like a lot of punches top with. You got to top with something that fizzes. Yeah. So whether that be ginger ale or champagne. So that's Powerful Punch.
Fun.
And then I've heard of a wedding punch.
Okay.
That's popular with bourbon.
Okay.
So you would use...
I like it already.
you could use vodka, but this would be bourbon, white port, frozen lemonade, and then bottled soda water.
Okay.
So that would kind of give it the fizz. So that one sounds pretty good too. I think I would just kind of weigh the options in terms of whatever celebratory event I was creating something for. And
punches can be made around, like you said, they can be non-alcoholic, but there's punches that are all different kinds of alcohol. Many are rum-based, but you can have vodka punches, bourbon punches, gin-based punches.
Yeah. This cheerwine punch, even though it looks Christmassy, I mean, you could do this for a birthday party.
Absolutely.
Like, it doesn't have to be just Christmas.
It just looks good in the season.
So the other punch I was going to mention when we said there are some that are too strong, remember hooch?
Oh, yes. So college memories flood my brain when you say the word hooch.
Was hooch typically in like a large, like rubber trash can?
In college it was. I think that was also partially because that was a cheap way to make a lot of alcohol, make it go far.
Yeah.
I think I have a lot of memories of red hooch. I don't know if they were
I couldn't remember what all went into it. I might have to look up what goes into hooch.
And I don't know that we ever need to make it again.
No, we don't. But that's my example of a punch or a concoction that's just...
Concoction's a good word.
Too much.
Yeah.
I think it's...
I feel like those would have been like just pure grain alcohol, cheap based.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, we don't even need to go into that, but
punches are fun though.
Yeah.
That's the whole point here is if you want to take your party up to another level.
Yeah. Make a signature drink or make a punch.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So I watched a great documentary this week.
Really? What was it?
It wasn't a new one, but it was new to me. It's called Muscle Shoals.
Wait. As in... Okay, yes,
That's
I think
right.
I'm very familiar
That's
with this
right.
Muscle Shoals, but I have not seen the movie. So tell me a little bit about it.
Okay, unbelievable. Like, definitely must see if you're into any kind of music. I think you'll really enjoy this. Hearing about this studio in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, really close to Florence. There was this studio called Fame Studios. Fame stood for Florence, Alabama Music Enterprise. It was founded by Rick Hall.
Never knew it stood for that. I just thought it was fame as in seeking fame.
So Rick Hall, Billy Sherrill, and Tom Stafford in the late 50s start this little studio. And by the mid-60s, it was a destination for artists like Percy Sledge, Wilson Pickett, Otis Redding, the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
The names that recorded at this studio absolutely blew me away.
And it's probably tiny, right?
Oh, yeah. And in, the middle of nowhere,
Right.
considering,
Off the beaten path,
LA,
for sure.
Nashville, New York, where all this hot stuff is happening. So Aretha Franklin in this movie even credits this Rick Hall with the turn in her career that literally led her to becoming the Queen of Soul.
Wow.
It was
That's
just
a statement.
amazing. Yes, and despite, we're talking about mid-60s, so racial strife is hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in this studio, it was so fascinating to me. It did not seem to be that race was an issue at all.
Wow. That's huge.
Musicians
in Alabama.
In Alabama. And it was just beautiful. I've known for a long time, just in my own experiences, how music unifies people.
Right.
But it was really testimonial of that to me, just seeing these artists working together and bringing out the best in each other.
That's amazing.
It was amazing.
Did they were interviewing different artists that had
All
recorded
different
there?
artists there. Keith Richards, the Stones recorded several hits there.
Okay.
Keith Richards said it was the kind of a place where it just was the perfect sound. It was the sound you had been going for all along.
Wow.
Hence, this is why it becomes this destination. But one thing that was really cool about it was these session musicians that they had that worked there. They became known as Muscle Shoals Horns, Muscle Shoals Rhythm Section, nicknamed the Swampers. These session musicians were just, so good. And again,
were they from the area? Like, where did they get them?
Good question. They may have gone into that. I don't remember
Okay.
that per se.
Okay.
But one other, this was just so amazing to me. Dwayne Allman once pitched a tent and camped out in the parking lot of this studio just to be near the recording sessions that were happening there. He befriended this Rick Hall and Wilson Pickett. He actually taught Wilson Pickett the song Hey Jude, and they recorded it together in 1968. This starts kind of putting Allman, in some people's sight.
Yeah.
And Dwayne Allman learned to play this slide guitar.
Okay.
And that became a very signature sound. What was really interesting was this Rick Hall said that Dwayne learning this slide guitar, playing with Pickett, this kind of thing, he said that was where Southern rock was born.
Okay. Well, a lot of people, if you say Southern rock, Allman Brothers and Leonard Skinner, those are
the sound.
Yeah, that's what they're going to immediately think about. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just really fascinating. I highly recommend seeing this. But yeah, Dwayne Allman went on to record for many artists there: Clarence Carter, Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, Percy Sledge, Boz Scaggs. So he's just a player on a lot of these. But out of that, he becomes friends with a drummer, J-Mo Johansson, I think is how you say the name.
Okay.
Dwayne, at this point, was living in this secluded lake cabin in Muscle Shoals. He would get this drummer to come over. They would jam together. They start kind of dreaming of working together, pull in a couple of other people that this drummer was already playing with, Barry Oakley and Dickie Betts. Anyway, all this jamming together, playing together is how Allman Brothers came to be.
So, was this J-Mo guy in Allman Brothers?
Drummer of the Allman Brothers.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, really fascinating how all of this came about. So I just wanted us to talk a little bit about Southern rock. Now,
absolutely.
You know, this is a large genre. We're not going to be able to touch everything of importance in Southern rock.
Well, I mean, we, you know, you're a child of the 70s. I'm a child of the 80s. So a lot of our Southern rock love and, you know, bands that we listen to are going to be from the ages that we were, you know, that we grew up in. You know, there's certain names that are attributed to putting Southern cities on the map, even if they're not considered Southern rock.
That's
you know,
true.
Like you think of the Little Richard, Fats Domino, Bo Diddley, like you can't call those guys Southern rock, even though they brought
so influential
a light to the South in a big way.
And we'll have to go into other genres as well. I mean, blues and
not today, but
not today, but we will be going into these later. There's, you know, the bluegrass, the blues, so much that's come out of the South.
That's cool. So is that, I don't think that was on Netflix. You watched it through... I
actually had to watch it through Amazon Prime. Yeah, I watched it through Amazon.
Muscle Shoals.
Yeah, check that out. It's so good. But yeah, so this, one other thing that was really interesting to me was just in looking at some of these bands that were so influential, just how struck with tragedy they were.
They were, weren't they?
Unbelievable. Like the Allman Brothers and Leonard Skinner were at the peak of their, you know, well, we don't even know if it was the peak, but they were doing so well when these huge tragedies hit.
Yeah. So the Leonard Skinner tragedy would have been an airplane crash.
Right. And then Dwayne Allman dies in a motorcycle accident, and then the band's bassist, really wild, they go into this in this documentary, dies less than 13 months later. I believe it was like within just a mile or something. Also,
no way. Motorcycle?
I believe motorcycle, may have been car, but yeah, just almost freakish how close together in time and in proximity.
So these bands are like the Kennedys of music.
So much tragedy.
And tragedies, not drug overdoses, suicides, you know.
Yeah, this Leonard
true
Skinner
accidental
was on tour and the plane runs out of gas and crashes after one show before another show.
How many people died in that?
Oh gosh.
Do you know?
I've got all of these notes here, but it was Ronnie Van Zant, Steve Gaines, a backup singer who was Steve's older sister, Cassie Gaines, assistant road manager, Dean Kilpatrick, the pilot, Walter McCreary, the co-pilot, William Gray, were all killed on impact, and then other band members.
So I think you named 6 there. Wow.
Other band members, you know, injured. I mean, it was a huge, huge hit.
Wow.
In there.
And that was in the 60s?
That was 77.
77.
Yeah, they were leaving Greenville, South Carolina after a show and headed to Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Wow.
So, yeah. But, Allman Brothers, I mean, we could do a whole podcast just on them. Leonard Skinner could do a whole podcast on them. I definitely wanted to talk also about Capricorn Records out of Macon, Georgia.
Is that who they were signed with?
So that was an independent record label founded by Phil Walden, Alan Walden, and Frank Finter in 1969. And it was the label for many Southern rock bands in the 70s.
Where
Allman
was
Brothers. Macon,
Georgia.
Macon, Georgia. Okay. So Allman Brothers were on that. Marshall Tucker Band out of Spartanburg, South Carolina were on that label. Delbert McClinton, Wet Willie, Dobie Gray. I mean, so many different artists. But Capricorn was, definitely a influential part of Southern rock.
Mm-hmm. So they had probably... Did they go on past Southern rock now?
Yes, that was their main thing in the 70s. Later, they relaunched in the 90s out of Nashville. And their first act that they signed was Widespread Panic.
Okay,
which I thought was interesting.
now we're moving into my college years. Yes.
Out of Athens, Georgia, which also got me thinking, gosh, college towns put out good music.
Yes, they do.
It's really interesting to me how so much good music comes out of college towns. But anyway, so the relaunch of Capricorn, also they signed 311 and Cake, which were also some bands that we liked in that time. But I don't want to get off of the Southern rock category. But interesting stuff.
So I know you loved Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers. What other ones did you love?
Well, another one that was really influential for me and a band I loved was 38 Special.
Okay, yeah.
38 Special was out of Jacksonville, Florida, and Donnie Van Zant was the younger brother of Ronnie Van Zant from Leonard Skinner.
Okay, so they formed a little after Leonard Skinner had been out for a while.
Yeah, so
after the tragedy.
Yes,
right?
They were, and they were just such a great band. I want
to queue up sound bites for every band we mentioned. Like Hold On Loosely is spinning through my head right now.
I have many high school memories of riding around and listening to these songs. But I have one memory in particular that I have to mention that's hilarious to me about 38 Special. So for the Nashvillians that remember the Municipal Auditorium shows of the...
It's still around. It just doesn't have as many shows.
Yeah, this would have been circa 1986, I think.
Okay.
I went to see 38 Special with my friend Angie, and we were rockers through and through. But... what is so funny to me is the opener for 38 Special.
Who was?
That's right. I said opener. Was Bon Jovi.
Oh my gosh.
And in going to this show, Bon Jovi was filming the video for Dead or Alive. They were a pretty new band.
Okay.
And so if you guys remember the Dead or Alive video, it's black and white. Yep. It's so good.
It's like road life.
Total road life video. All of the girls singing all the lyrics of the songs, holding up their signs. There are a couple of times, if you knew to look for me, I am in that video. So that's such a hoot to me that, my rocking days of the 1986.
So much spandex and big hair.
So much. Yeah, right after his stretch with his leg up is one of the times you can see me, John Bon Jovi, stretching. So, I'm getting off of topic
No,
here,
that's the great thing about music is touring, getting to see bands live.
I never saw the Allman Brothers, but I don't know if such a great live band.
Yeah.
Like, it's even fun to watch a video of how good they were live. And
I mean, how many times have you been at a show where Freebird was requested and shouted out?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of just something we do here.
It is an anthem. For sure.
That's a good word. A lot of these bands wrote anthems.
They did,
didn't they?
Yes, anthem songs. And it just brings up, even just that little bit of Sweet Home Alabama really brought up a lot of memory for me. And hearing that little clip. And, Sweet Home Alabama, interestingly enough, was written as a response to Neil Young's song Southern Man.
Oh, really?
And so they were not rivals or they didn't hate each other or anything. In fact, I think respected each other a lot. But Neil Young kind of, had some...
He's a little edgier anyway.
Yeah, so this was their response to that song, Sweet Home Alabama. So anyway, listen to those someday and check that out. But just amazing to me, knowing the richness and heritage that came out of that Muscle Shoals was really fascinating, and how much that's touched so many different genres of music. But I also wanted to mention, I think it's so funny, Pandora. I listen to Pandora a lot.
Sure.
And I have sometimes a radio station that you set up. It's pulling from different genres.
Right.
But playing a similar style.
It's trying to get you, if you like such and such, you're going to like this other.
Which is what I like about it.
So it,
introduces me to things maybe I wouldn't know.
Right.
So I have a station that's Chris Stapleton.
Okay.
And what I love about it is it's pulling some of this old Southern rock of Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers, Marshall Tucker, but you also get the outlaw country sound, which has clearly got some of that influence of Southern rock.
So Chris Stapleton is considered country. But
now. I think he used to be more bluegrass. Now he's...
Because, I mean, it's funny, the way I think about this, sometimes if I don't know how to categorize an artist, I'm like, what award show were they at? Yeah, he was at the Country Music Awards, you know?
Yeah. That's true.
So, yeah, but he would definitely fit well within, if Southern rock was even still a category. It's not even a category now. I mean,
you don't hear that.
Classic rock would be probably where we would put all of this now.
That's true.
Because there's not like a Southern rock radio station. It's all classic rock now, and that makes me sad.
Yeah.
What other...
so it's funny because on that Chris Stapleton, I get a lot of the Southern rock, but then these what they call outlaw country.
Right. Is that like a Jason Isbell? Or?
Yes, Sturgill Simpson.
Okay.
Funny enough, I even occasionally will have a Pearl Jam thrown in there, which was another favorite band, totally different sound. But I'm telling you, they pull this stuff, and that's what I love about Pandora.
That's true. It does introduce you to people that it's trying to sway you to like.
That's right. But
didn't you like Driving and Crying?
I did.
They were Southern.
That's true.
There's certain Southern bands that I do wonder, are they?
Does that fall Southern
rock because they're a rock band and they're in the South, or like
not necessarily? I don't think just because you're from the South, a city in the South, and you're rock does not make you Southern rock. I think of Southern rock as that heavy electric guitar,
yes,
anthem-y, kind of.
I have two bands in particular I was going to mention that I think fall into the category of, yes, they're from Southern places, but they are not Southern rock, even though they are rock and roll. Tom Petty.
Yes. I love Tom Petty.
He's from Gainesville.
Not Southern rock.
Not Southern rock. And then, of course, you're very familiar with this band out of a college town, REM.
Oh, yeah. Great, but not. Absolutely.
They're
even further.
They're even further than Pearl Jam out of the Southern rock category.
Yeah.
But, man, I just loved it. You know, of course, my experience is going to be a little out of the 70s and 80s, more 90s and present. But in college, I loved the North Mississippi All-Stars.
Yes.
They were very Southern rock. If you don't know them, think Alabama Shakes, but even though Alabama Shakes has a female singer. And it's funny, too, the word shake is in a lot of North Mississippi All-Star songs.
Okay.
Like Shake 'Em On Down was one of their big ones that my roommates and I would listen to. We went and saw them live plenty of times. Drive-By Truckers, loved them.
Yep.
Old Crow Medicine Show.
Oh, love it, yeah.
I love driving through the hills of East Tennessee to Old Crow Medicine Show.
To Cumberland Gap.
Yes. It just feels right. Like if you're driving through Cumberland Gap and you're listening to songs about Cumberland Gap.
Or Wagon Wheel, rather. Yeah.
Or Wagon Wheel, yeah. I love listening to Steve Earle when I'm driving. So
good driving music. That's true.
It's very good driving music, especially in
open spaces.
Appalachia area, mountainous areas. Just
so fun.
Southern terrain. The last 10 years, I would say, have some bands that I really feel like are a few too many degrees away from Southern rock for me to consider them Southern rock.
Okay.
But they are lumped together as much as that genre is allowing. So like Band of Horses, My Morning Jacket, Avett Brothers.
Yeah.
Of course, Jason Isbell, I think he would still be Southern rock. But... and our dad loves Webb Wilder.
Oh yeah, I've seen him too.
That would be Southern rock for sure. But what a classic good.
You know, another band I loved that had. It's funny, even as I think about Muscle Shoals and the Stones being there, and some of that Southern rock was Black Crowes.
Black Crowes,
how they're kind of like the in between of this Southern rock and the stuff like.
Yeah,
just
that's
a really
true.
Cool
They're a very interesting mix of that.
And I loved the Black Crowes. In fact, I had this fun little connect with that awesome Shake Your Money Maker, which
Shake.
There's that shake word again.
Is that a theme for all good Southern?
Shake it down. But that Shake Your Money Maker album, which was fabulous,
phenomenal.
By the way.
That was their first
big album.
Yeah.
And their guitarist on that album went to Brentwood High School. His name was Jeff C.
Wow.
So that was just a fun little,
That's
my gosh,
cool.
I've been close to, I knew him.
Yeah, 1 degree away from the
Crows.
They were, I felt like the Black Crowes were on every festival circuit that that we would go to in the 90s. I mean, they were playing it seemed like every festival, but
yeah. So a fun genre. I mean, we can't go into all the depths of all the great stuff, but y'all check out that movie on Muscle Shoals. Even if Southern rock isn't your thing, I mean, the people that recorded there: Rod Stewart, Carlos Santana, Glenn Frey, Simon and Garfunkel, Bob Seger, Cat Stevens, Joan Baez. I mean, Bob Dylan. It goes on and on.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Well, you touched on something earlier. I'm going to throw a loop for you here just for a minute before we close out this segment. You mentioned, like, the outlaw artists.
Oh, yeah.
And we've talked before that we need to spend time on a future segment on even what states constitute the South.
Yeah, there's many definitions.
But did you know, have you ever heard of the genre called red dirt?
No.
Okay, so red dirt would be more out of
I can guess.
Texas and Oklahoma.
Okay.
So that's specifically the music genre. I mean, of course,
Willie Nelson,
Waylon Jennings. Yeah, so there's even some, I've heard, kind of, division
Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah.
With Waylon and Willie and the boys.
Yes. Of the red dirt genre, wanting to keep its, sanctity and integrity around that. So Oklahoma, of course, isn't Southern, but Texas oftentimes gets looped into the South.
They're Southern. They sometimes think they're their own country, but they're still Southern.
Yeah. So, so I think,
Gosh, yeah, there's so many directions with music, but it's all fun to talk about.
And, each of these, we're not musically sound gifted enough to be able to speak to the technicalities, but apparently this Texas red dirt sound is so distinct that, they should have their own genre, which of course is what they're going for. But it would be, I guess, more like an indie genre of rock and roll. That really, it has no other definitive way to describe it, so it has to be called red dirt. So anyway, that's fun to reminisce, and of course, lots of these artists we've had the pleasure of getting to see, and some that we haven't, that have gone on. And
too tragically and too early.
Yeah. But, Old Crow Medicine Show always does a New Year's Eve show.
Sells out sometimes two
here in Nashville. Yeah. So
they are a fun band.
I've never seen them. I've wanted to.
I've not seen the New Year's Eve show, but they are fun.
Well, they must get, or they must have a fan base that can support that, because the Ryman selling out on New Year's Eve,
that says something.
It's no small feat.
So in pulling out my Christmas decorations, one of the things I pulled out was this cute little Christmas book that I have called Christmas Joys.
Oh, you gave me a copy of that too. I've got one of those.
Well, it's by H. Jackson Brown. He's the guy that wrote that Life's Little Instruction book.
Yeah.
And so this Christmas Joys is also a small book, just like to set it out in the Christmas season, because it's full of cute ideas to just bring you more joy at Christmas. The book is old enough that some of them are dated now.
Yeah, I feel like it was popular around the Chicken Soup for the Soul era.
Maybe. Same kind of time frame, 90s, early 90s. Yeah. Anyway, but I still love to look through it. And as I was looking through it, I jotted down just a few of my favorite ones, and I thought we could read those.
Yes, these are good. Okay, so bake cookies for firemen or policemen in your neighborhood.
I love that. In fact, Thanksgiving, the lady that brought our pies, my friend Joy, she had taken pumpkin pies to all the fire stations in her town, and I thought that was so awesome. So
that was so good.
Love honoring them in that way. Another idea was invite a friend who doesn't have a church home to attend a service with you.
Yeah.
That's a sweet thing to do.
An easy way to have something to do with a neighbor, too.
Yeah.
Attend Handel's Messiah.
I mean, that'll bring you to your feet.
If you want to get in the Christmas spirit, go hear the Hallelujah chorus live.
Yeah. A lot of cities or churches will do a version of it. Check out in your city if that's coming. Sending Christmas cards and encouraging notes to military personnel who are overseas. They don't get to be home And I think that's a sweet thing we can do.
Mm-hmm. On Christmas Eve, read Luke chapter 2 by candlelight. That's cool.
Yeah.
We just saw, Lainey and I went to see Charlie Brown's Christmas over the weekend, and it was so sweet.
See a child reading.
Yes, it was a children's production, so it was even better to hear a child recite Luke too.
So innocent, yeah. I love this one. Turn off the lights, put on Bing Crosby's White Christmas, and ask your spouse to dance.
Ooh, I should do that. That sounds fun. Volunteer with friends and family at a homeless shelter or soup kitchen. It's very doable.
Yes. Shop local. That's a easy thing to do that really matters to sewing into your community.
You didn't get to do it on Shop Local or Shop
Saturday.
Small Business Saturday. There's still every other day you can still do it.
That's right.
Write some beautiful cards from Santa to those in the nursing home or those who don't get much mail.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Super
That's
sweet.
very cool.
Order a pizza for a neighbor and tell the delivery person to say it's from Santa.
I'm doing that.
How cute is that?
I know exactly who I'm doing that for, so... yeah, I'm definitely doing that. I know. Yeah. Watch It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing that this year. We're getting people together to do that.
That movie. If you have friends or family members who've lost someone close to them during the year, make a special effort to call and encourage them for Christmas.
That's good. Yeah. And then help an elderly neighbor decorate their home. That's good.
So good. And it's still early enough to do that.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean you have to hang from a ladder and put their Christmas lights up. They may just need some help inside, right?
That's right. And then I have one other thing I wanted to read.
Yeah.
That's really special to me. I got a Christmas card many years ago from my friend Susan Campbell. And when I got it, I knew I needed to frame it and read it every year because it really blesses me to read this. And so I have this framed and it hangs in my bathroom every year at Christmas for all the guests to read. And many have taken pictures of it.
Oh, cool.
And have told me that they loved it too. So this is what it says. This Christmas, mend a quarrel. Seek out a forgotten friend. Write a love letter. Share some treasure. Give a soft answer. Encourage youth. Keep a promise. Find the time. Forgive an enemy. Listen. Apologize if you were wrong. Think first of someone else. Be kind and gentle. Laugh a little. Laugh a little more. Express your gratitude. Gladden the heart of a child. Take pleasure in the beauty and wonder of the earth. Speak your love. Speak it again. Speak it still once again. So, yeah, I just think that's a sweet
this Christmas. Yep.
Yeah,
that's
thing
cool
to think on as we're just stepping into December.
Absolutely. So. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Steel Magnolias podcast. If you haven't gotten a chance to subscribe to us through iTunes, I hope you'll do that. Leave us a review there, and we're still trying to spread the word about this podcast, so we would love it if you would
share it with your
friends. This with your friends and family, and we hope you'll join us next week as we dive into the various seating arrangements in Southern restaurants.
Yes.
And we'll also have some time talking about thoughtful gift giving. So
yeah, it'll be good.
Thanks again. Enjoy your week. We'll see you here next time. Bye.
Thanks.